Okay. All right. What it do, guys? Welcome to the Faith, Muscle, and Mind podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Conde, coach and brand owner of Gain and Burn Fitness. And today we've got the amazing guest, my handsome brother, Professor Chris Barakat. What is good, brother? What's good?
Going on, man? Thank you for having me on. It's been way too long. I haven't seen you in what, 2 years, maybe 3 years?
I was thinking, was it 2018 or 2016, Buddy Power? I think it was 2018.
No, 2018. 2018.
2018, yeah. That's
Yeah.
crazy, crazy.
I mean, we'll say it's been 2 years because 2020 was a wash. So just get rid
We
of
don't
it.
talk about that, man. We
We
don't
don't talk
talk
about
about it.
it. And
But yeah,
yeah, I hope to see you sooner than later, mate.
that's the plan. That's the plan. If it's either I get the wife to come over to Tampa with me, or yeah, you come over here. So,
Sounds good.
you guys are more than welcome, though. It'd be good, great to see you both.
Thank you.
But yeah, brother. So yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, most people who follow my page, who follow me anywhere on social media, they should know who you are. I do talk about you enough just simply because the knowledge you have and what you do in the industry is always worth sharing. I know you're quite science based and everything, but I thought it'd be best, to hear from yourself, a little bit about yourself, what you do, competitive breed, and also, why are you a professor? What's that all about?
Sure. Well, again, man, thanks for having me on. I'll give a brief intro in regards to what I currently do and kind of how I got started. So right now, I teach at the University of Tampa part-time. I'm an adjunct over there, but I do a ton of research in the Human Performance Lab. And basically all of the research that I'm a part of at this point is all bodybuilding related. If I'm going to invest months and months of my time or years of my time investigating something, it's going to be bodybuilding related. So it's all about muscle hypertrophy, optimizing your nutrition for building muscle, losing fat, the whole nine. So that's what we do in the lab. And then I also coach full time. Like that's what I really do professionally. So that's with my team, Competitive Breed. And then I like to educate people outside of the classroom, right? I only have 21 students a semester, so I don't teach a whole bunch of students every semester. But I love being able to educate people on social media, on podcasts like this platform right here, and just all over the internet. So I created another brand called School of Gains, and Gains is spelled with a Z, where I just share a lot of educational content, free articles, videos, keep people updated on my research. And then I also have coaching services there and programs there and stuff like that. So that's basically what I do. Educationally, I started off with a bachelor's in athletic training. That is basically a hybrid of sports therapy, like prehab and physio, with emergency care. So spine boarding people, everything like that. Those are the people that are at athletic events and they're the first responders there. The goal is that I thought I was going to do physical therapy for my graduate school and I thought I was going to get a DPT. But I just fell in love with bodybuilding too much. I started competing as an undergrad and got more and more interested in exercise and nutrition. So I was like, screw this PT stuff. I've been working in PT clinics for like 4 or 6 years at that point, and I was like, I want to study what I'm super passionate about and kind of make a career out of this. So then I got my master's in exercise and nutritional sciences, where I currently teach at the University of Tampa, and that's me in a nutshell. If that was
That's
quick
nice.
enough, but thorough enough.
That's pretty much nailed. Like pretty much should cover everything there, so at least people know who you are in that sense.
Cool.
And yeah, and for people to catch that again, School of Gains, it's the bro spelling. You got the Z on there, make it easy for us, meatheads. No, it's not hard at all. But I think again, like off the bat, people might not know how I first got to know you. It was like from your one of your first like YouTube videos, just you going a bit more about yourself. I really resonated with, and I think what
Mm.
makes it easy is again just the whole fact of the whole bodybuilding being the passion and making a living from it. And I think this is where a lot of people get it confused with. They think it's like somehow you molded that to happen. You somehow like had a blueprint and put everything together. Like people forget that it's just simply a case of we love this and we just like kind of like immatured from it. From looking at what else you can do and not having the fear to take the risk to try it and actually make it your own, so to say, because I'm guessing even still with even where you are currently, like you still focusing on bodybuilding with your education side of things, it might still be challenging to be able to put that up there and say, no, I still want to stick in this lane as much as
Mhm.
other people might throw you another lane. So I think my first question will be like, how is that day to day, having to always make sure you're staying true to what you're going to enjoy and be able to actually give your all to.
Sure. That's a great question, man. Because sometimes I have spent too much time on things I don't enjoy to a great degree. I like to have my feet in different lanes to like I like coaching, I like research, I like educating. So like if I were just to do one of those three, I would be unfulfilled, unfortunately. So like there has been times where I've taken on way too much coaching responsibility, was, drowned in emails all day long doing updates and didn't have time to do the other things that kind of fill up my cup. And I was
Yeah.
like, damn, I'm really not liking this right now. So even though I do love it, too much of anything, it's like you need the proper dosage, you need that proper volume.
There you go. Yeah.
Um, I was like overreaching with my coaching at one point, and I was like, all right, I need to calm that down a bit, take the foot off the gas there, switch gears, do a little something else. Um, but yeah, I still, the whole balancing act is something that like I don't know if anyone's a master of it or you just constantly try to get better over time. So it's something I'm still going through, but I'm fortunate, man. Like with the research, I do have a mentor at the University of Tampa, but we're basically on the same page. He understands that, like, he doesn't want me investing time into things that I'm not interested in. So, I mean, we're a team, man. So we collaborate with one another.
That's a
Um,
blessing.
yeah, it's a blessing, man. So shout out to Dr. Eduardo de Souza. He's a really, really good dude. He's been my mentor since 2015. So it's been
Cool.
awesome. Um, and yeah, I don't know. Sorry, you want to rephrase or reword the question again so I
I
can
mean,
actually.
you pretty much hit it on the nail on the head there, because I was literally just saying,
Okay.
like, how have you been able to like kind of stay true to what you're more passionate about? And I think one of the main things you're mentioning there is it's a learning process still. You've probably learned from mistakes, and you were mentioning with going too far into one part, so to say, or one lane. Being able to try and divide that out a bit, and then also you just even mentioned how you do have a great mentor who's actually able to kind of like support you in regards to where maybe this could be more demanding, but and also not really attractive anymore because it's kind of going out of what you like. He's able to back you in a way, so to say. So
Yeah.
I guess you pretty much just you answer it there. There is again no perfect way. There was no epiphany or anything. It's just literally learning, and then also just kind of trying to listen to. I guess I don't know. You listen to your heart, or you listen to your partner, your wife. Like, who are the main
Yeah.
people I guess you listen to?
Yeah, for sure. It's trial and error. You don't really, a lot of people look at bad experiences as just being bad.
Yeah.
Where I think it's important to look at them as learning experiences where you now know what you no longer, want to do. So like just a random example, I don't know what the age demographic of people listening is, but a lot of the students I teach at the university, some of them are juniors and seniors, and they have no idea what they want to do
Mm.
post graduation. And some of them are graduating in like 2 months from now. And I'm like, and that's fine. It's really
Yeah.
fine. I asked
Yeah.
them like, hey, have you done any internships? And they're like, no. Or they're like, yeah, I've done one and I didn't like it. And I'm like, well, you should have done as many internships as you possibly can, because even if you hated all 5 of the ones you did, you know that you don't want to do those 5 things, and it gives you a better insight in regards to the direction you do want to go in.
Mm.
So having that perspective of like, oh, I just wasted my time. It's like, no, you didn't waste your time. You now know like what route doesn't make sense for you, and then you can now explore other options that might make more sense for you. So I think perspective is really, really important.
Yeah.
Trying to find a win out of everything, or like taking lessons from your losses. Like I don't like viewing things as losses. I like viewing them as lessons. And just stuff like that, man.
It's cool, man. Thanks. I mean, I think again, so in regards to like demographic, possibly listening to this, it is kind of that range of like the mid 20s to also to about 30 to 40. But then I do also have a lot of like young followers as well. So that's good to hear because again, age is just a number. There are a lot of people who are in those level of studies at a later age still as well. It doesn't always have to be in your teens and so on. So
100%.
it's good. Yeah, and I think again, love the way you're touching on how it's okay to not know the plan yet, but again, just gotta start taking them steps. Asking certain questions, and start actually challenging yourself. I guess. Yeah.
For sure. I think both of us are in a similar boat, man, where we're doing stuff in the fitness space. But no one's holding our hand. There's no blueprint or plan that we're following.
100%.
We're trusting our gut. We're taking steps. We're doing what we enjoy. We're learning from our mistakes. And I think anybody listening that wants to, create a quote unquote side hustle, that is something that they're more passionate about compared to their normal like job where they're making their current living, just do it. Like you can spend anywhere from 1 hour a week to 30 hours a week on your side hustle, but just getting started is literally the way every single person starts. Like there's no plan that you need first. There's no like resume that you fill out. There's no book that you read. It's just like you just get doing, you just get walking.
Yeah, 100%. Man. All right. So in regards to the main question, I kind of got back from my followers in regards to like what main things I probably want to ask you, and it does involve obviously a bit of the science of things. I know you like to be a bit science based. Before I go into the questions, just wanted to check like in regards to like what you do with when it comes to working with clients, competitive breed, and also School of Gains. What would you say like are the key like foundations of those areas of your coaching? What would you say is like the main aspects you try to like implement when it comes to all clients there? Is there any kind of like main philosophies you have?
Yeah, so there's a lot I can chat about here.
We can do it all day.
Yeah, depending on the client and the context, it's about finding an approach that obviously improves their results. It's improving their nutritional like X's and O's, without it adding a certain level of stress that actually takes away from the enjoyment of the process. So if I work with a Gen Pop person, it might look way different than what I do with a competitor. And then some of the things I do with certain competitors are way different than what I do with other competitors because they can be a seasoned veteran or they can be a first timer. Their previous experiences can, give you more insight in regards to what their preferences already are and where they're going to have the best adherence. So a lot of things vary. So it's always about trying to find a way for the client to improve their current nutritional approach without adding a lot of life stress to them. It should almost take some weight off of their shoulders because the approach they take should give them clear direction, and it should almost be okay, I'm no longer stressing out nutrition because I know I'm doing this and I know this works, and it's the right amount of flexibility that they need to stay on plan. So yeah, we can dive into more details as need be.
Yeah, sure. And we're probably going to do so because the main question is mainly in regards to the whole dieting phase, going into a contest prep or fat loss phase. If obviously you're working with a Gen Pop, a lot of them want to know like, what do you feel like is the best approach? Like, what are you leaning more towards? Because we got this whole apparently that's the flexible only or the restrictive dieting. So where do you say you lean, or actually is there a whole new kind of like lane that you look at when it comes to working with different clients?
Yeah. So when it comes to dieting, super important thing is before you even start your diet is that you develop pretty good habits. And the approach that you're going to take when you start dieting is the same approach you should take for at least a few weeks beforehand, just not being in a deficit. So, if I were to work with a client that says like, hey, they just want to do a contest prep with me and not like an improvement phase, I would at least want to work with them for 4 to 6 weeks before we start dieting, just to develop structure. Like, okay, this is how I want you nailing your nutrition. And that's something that varies with each client. So some, like, just a quick example, some of my clients do like 3 whole food meals per day and 2 additional protein feedings that
Yeah.
might literally just be like protein shake. Um, so in that case, it's kind of like a very standard diet where you're doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner, like 3 actual meals, and then like 2 additional protein feedings, right? So that's not really like bodybuilding-esque, right? Like you can kind of tell like your soccer mom to do that, and she's not going to say like, oh, that's like dramatically different than what I'm currently doing, because she's probably eating 3 meals a day anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you just got to structure the portion size of the carbs, the fats, the proteins appropriately, so on and so forth. But
Yeah.
that's like a small adjustment that they can make,
Yeah.
rather than telling them, hey, I need you to eat 6 small meals, and all of those meals need to be fat, carbs, and protein.
Yeah.
Because what happens there is the quantity of the carbs, fat, and protein in each meal, when you spread it across 6 for a soccer mom, is quite small. So she's no longer eating her normal sized dinner. She's no longer eating her normal sized lunch, and it feels like something's different, right? Whereas if you gave them like, it's going to be a different breakfast, a different lunch, and a different dinner in regards to the serving and the portions of the food items. But like whatever she cooks for her family, it's probably going to be the same exact food sources. She's just now weighing it out and paying attention to the actual portions of that food.
Yeah.
But taking that person and saying, hey, you're still doing your normal 3 meals. I'm just having you do a shake first thing in the morning and a shake before you go to sleep. That's like just an easy adjustment. And it's like, boom, they start making progress.
Yeah.
And then on the other end, like some competitors, they're actually eating like 5 complete balanced meals. And that's like more of a very standard bodybuilding-esque diet.
Yeah.
So it varies there. And then another thing is I do prescribe macronutrients for all of my clients, but some take a more flexible approach and some take a less flexible approach. And what I generally like to do is cook a lot of food in bulk. So you're still meal prepping. You're not just like winging it and trying to hit your numbers out of nowhere. I still think it's really important to have certain meals that don't necessarily need to change, right? Like if you're eating your breakfast alone, if you're eating your lunch alone, you might as well keep those meals just like solid staple meals, right? Like your pre-workout meal, your post-workout meal. Like you're not going out with the fam to eat your pre-workout meal,
Yeah.
like per se, right?
Yeah.
Like doing that on your own. So just like keep some stuff super, super simple. And then like if you want dinner to be off the menu and like whatever is being cooked with the family or whatever it may be, like you can still make it work as long as you, again, take the food sources and provide yourself with the right quantity so you're still hitting your numbers and you're staying on track.
100%.
So
Yeah.
again, the level of flexibility varies. Some of my clients are on meal plans just because they prefer that. Some of my clients are just hitting their macros, but I just give them very general guidelines, man. Whether you're a soccer mom or a competitor, I always say 3 servings of vegetables every single day, no matter
Yeah.
what. 2 servings of fruit every single day. Those are the minimum. If you do that, if you have 3 servings of veggie and 2 servings of fruit, your fiber is taken care of.
Yeah.
I basically no longer need to pay attention to fiber, so to speak. Like you don't have to worry about that or track it. And that alone improves so many people's digestive health. Like a lot of Gen Pop clients, they have really, really bad GI health. And then just having them eat more whole, nutrient dense foods like improves it really quickly.
Yeah.
When they start removing, a lot of processed foods and eating way more whole foods.
That's it. Love that. Love that. And again, just one of the main reasons why again, just relating to you, and I guess in regards to how we're kind of a bit similar with same with my kind of coaching, it is always about trying your best to, again, no matter who the client is, because even a competitor, you can't just completely flip things on its head in regards to the nutrition. There has to be some element or something they can actually recognize here that go, whether it's even just simply the structure of things. So how, okay, I normally do have around 3 meals anyways. And even for competitive, it's just simply, okay, prioritizing your pre and post workout a bit better, the peri workout, those kind of things. That's what's going to be the little nuances here and there. But I think one of the best things you said there was just simply, again, the whole, no matter who the client is, it should be a case of there's a bit of weight off their shoulders now. You're there now to help them with all these kind of little things. And anything they might be worrying about, things where some people, you get them, you got some clients who just, they have so many questions because they'll hear one thing and they're just thinking, does that mean that applies to me? Is this right? All this kind of thing, all these, some people even read their own studies and everything. But at least now they got you to just go, Chris, does this mean anything to me? And if it does, if it doesn't, either way, explain it to me. You can do that, those kind of things. But I think, again, number one, you said it first, which is we actually get them good results. But then how we get there as well is not something that's going to be where they hated it and it's like the enjoyment is just gone as well. It's something they can learn from.
Yeah, it's part of our responsibility to give them a plan where they can take the thinking out of it to a certain extent. They still need to be very conscious of what they're eating and what they're doing, because it requires tracking, but we're giving them like the quantities and the ratios of what we're looking for. And I just lost my train of thought. So yeah, I'm trying to take the thinking out for them to a certain extent. They need to be super conscious about it. And then it's up to them to execute. Like we can't do it for them. And then if they find a plan too hard to execute, we need to figure out why, and then we can potentially use a totally different strategy that might not come down to counting macros by the gram and necessarily using a food scale. So there are some other potential strategies that can be used depending on the client.
100%. I guess that's why it is coaching, because it's always ongoing. There's never such a thing as the perfect plan from the get-go. It's always going to be evolving, and I guess that's why you do the journey with them. Period. As simple as. So yeah, love that, man. I think off the back of that, the second other key question was, okay, you've gone through your fat loss phase, maintaining it now. Like, let's say we do want to try and look a bit lean still for the rest of the year, kind of thing. We're not trying to look like shredded 24/7, but kind of at least keep the results we had, because then you've got a lot of people feeling like the yo-yo diet a lot when it comes to like if they've done the 12-week crash or something, and now okay, they just want to just binge and everything. So what is the best way to maintain it? And I pretty much know the answer to this, but I'd love to hear it from you.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna backpedal super quick because there's one other thing I want to mention about the dieting phase, and then I'm gonna come back.
No problem, man. Show's yours.
In regards to the diet too, so like let's say you have a competitor and you're going through a significant fat loss phase, whether it's first stage or not. If you do have that structure I spoke about, where like, hey, your pre-workout meal, your post-workout meal, that can always look the same because you're not eating out for that. Like you're doing that stuff on your own. One thing I like to do is keep my pre-workout meal and my post-workout meal almost identical, like throughout the entire contest prep. So let's just say I started off at 300 carbs per day, right? And I was eating 140 of those carbs pre and post. Let's just say 70 and 70 as a random example. As my carbs get lower and lower throughout the contest prep, so let's just say I started at 300 and I ended at 200, random example. I would still keep my pre-workout 70 and 70. Those meals would stay the same. And then the reduction of carbs is going to come from the meals furthest away from the workout window. Gotcha. So, if you're training at 4 p.m. after work, 5 p.m., whatever, your breakfast is probably going to be super low carb, or like just like vegetables, fats, and proteins. And then maybe the last meal before you go to sleep is just like protein and vegetables, just as an example. So I like keeping the peri-workout nutrition as similar as possible throughout the prep. And that can be like your staple. And then any adjustments you make to fats and carbs throughout prep, like you just pull them from the meals furthest away from the peri-workout window. That works really well. And then kind of to transition into your next question was like, how do you kind of transition out of that? If you keep that same structure, like you're still going to train after your fat loss phase, boom, your pre and post are the same. Now you just start adding in your carbs and fats to those other meals that were further away. So, let's say you were doing breakfast at the end of prep that had no starchy carbohydrates, and it was just like vegetables, eggs, like an egg omelet or something. Now you start adding in your toast there again, because you're adding in 40 grams of carbs. Or maybe you were doing like a very lean, like salad for lunch, like just hella veg, lean protein, and some sort of dressing. That was like your filling, voluminous lunch. Now maybe you start having a potato on the side because you're adding in carbs. So you're putting your starch back in. So the reverse dieting phase post contest prep is almost just going to be a reverse mirror of what you did on the way down. You can just be way more aggressive with it. So let's just say, like right off the bat, if you are dieting and you hit stage lean, I mean, I like adding in calories right away. Like I'm not someone who's adding in 20 grams of carbs, just 25 grams of carbs a week off the bat. Right away, I might add in like 100 grams of carbs. So that's 400 calories right away to both your training and non-training days. So you just really maximize muscle glycogen. You obviously can eat more food, so your satiety is increased. Um, and then like that's a 400 calorie bump from there. So hopefully you can adhere to that decently well. And then from there, you can do it slow increments based on how the rate of gain is going on the scale, how good your adherence is, and so on and so forth. I think a really important thing that impacts satiety post show, or just in general, something that impacts satiety all the time, is the quality of food sources you're eating and their glycemic index. So if you're eating a lot of processed foods post show, their satiety is super poor, right? They're high glycemic. They cause obviously a big spike in blood glucose levels, a big spike in insulin, and then followed by a large spike in adrenaline. And that noradrenaline leads to more hunger and more cravings. So besides eating like low volume foods that aren't actually filling up your stomach, there's also a physiological hormonal cascade that leads to more hunger. So your ability to adhere is going to go down if you're just eating, like if you were dieting super clean and eating really nutrient dense, and then on the reverse, you just want to eat your junk crap, it's going to be really hard to adhere because you're just going to crave it more and more. And then before you know it, instead of being up 100 carbs and 400 calories, you're going to be up like 250 carbs and 900 calories.
Yeah. Don't forget the 40 fats as well. Probably
And
just
yeah,
crept
of
out
course,
nowhere.
1,000%.
That's what I always
1,000%.
have.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, I would love to add on that as well, because it's always something that a lot of people feel is like there's so much more to it. But like you just touched on there, if the whole getting lean phase was done correctly, it does make the rest of coming out of that, transitioning out of it, a lot easier, because like you said, it literally is just reversing out of it. Obviously
Yeah.
depends competitor, yes, probably be more aggressive off the bat, because if they stage lean, the main thing is get them feeling like they're human again, as soon as
Sure.
possible is probably the main thing. Maybe someone's gen pop, even if it was just for a photo shoot for the summer, it's the same thing, but probably not just as aggressive in regards to coming out of there. But again, if you're already in your diet, you were having a good balance of processed, non-processed meals. You've got a good structure. It is your routine now. It is your lifestyle now. It's so
Yeah.
much easier to then coming out of it, to just keep going with it. And I think the other key thing as well you mentioned there, you touched on it real quick, was training, which is simply, if you actually enjoy training, that was always the case, then again, you're still continuing that as well when you come out of it. Because again, you get some people saying, "Oh, I just fell out the love of training, this and that," and you're just thinking, there's a lot more has gone in there. Then it's not just
Yeah.
the nutrition was tough, but it seems like mentally you struggle with a lot of things. And then obviously it's not in a good position to transition out of it, because already your mindset is set on something else. And it
Yeah.
sounds like you're a coach who definitely prepares Gen Pop competition, no matter what kind of client it is, you're preparing them for that transition either way. So making sure that they can get into that. And I think
Yeah.
that's the main thing there, is that whole process while doing it, it should be preparing you for that. And if you're not ready for that mentally, and then with your nutrition as well, it's so much harder. That's when it becomes
Yeah.
that big challenge. That's when that whole yo-yoing is just bound to happen.
For sure. a couple of points I want to make based off everything you just said. Some things that work really well, man, with Gen Pop or honestly competitors too.
Yeah,
Let's just say you're dieting down someone and they're losing, let's just say 25 pounds,
yeah,
right? So let's just take it 6 pounds at a time, for example, and they do that 4 times, right? 6,
yeah,
12, 18, 24. So a really good thing to do with Gen Pop is, let's just say this person is 180 pounds. They lose 6 pounds, they get to 174. Diet break them,
yeah,
increase their food a bit. Just show them that, hey, you're now at 174. For you to maintain 174, you don't need to do what we've been doing. You don't need to stay in this diet. You can actually eat a little bit more, maintain it for them for 1 to 2 weeks, just to teach them like this is what 174 maintenance feels like,
yeah,
and then go back to dieting another 6 pounds. So then you get them to 168. Then you say, okay, I know we've been dieting for a few weeks. You lost another 6 pounds. You don't need to continue to live your life the way you've been living your life to maintain this 168. Let's diet break. You're not going to really gain any weight. You know, you might gain a pound if scale fluctuates here and there, but we're going to just diet break and maintain. Okay, this is what it takes to maintain this 168. Then drop another 6 pounds. You're now 162. Diet break them. Drop another 6 pounds. They're now 156, and they just went from 180 to 156. They lost 24 pounds, but they learned how to kind of maintain throughout the way.
yeah,
So once they hit their goal weight, they're like, oh yeah, I already did that at the 168. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's a nice little strategy for people that have patience.
yeah,
Unfortunately, people sign on with you. They're like, hey, I'm ready to get shredded in 12 weeks. And
yeah,
it's like, well, you have like 40 pounds to lose. So let's take that 12 weeks and let's change it to 24 weeks. And let's practice some patience and let's do it the right way and
yeah,
try to teach you so you don't, so you're not done with me in 24 weeks and then you regain all your body weight again and then you hire someone else next year and then you do the same thing all over again, right? So that's really important. And then another thing I wanted to mention, you mentioned if you train, like if you enjoy training, then you should be able to just get, back to the gym and like continue to do that. When people stop enjoying it, a reason for that is because it starts to feel like a chore and it starts to feel like a job rather than their hobby and their passion. So something, this might be pretty interesting to you. I have some high level athletes right now. One of my best figure competitors. She trains. She's on like a 6 day split, so to speak. She trains, let's just say, a most like 6 days every 8 days, right?
gotcha. Yeah,
3 of those training days are programmed by me, where it's like you have to do this exercise for this rep for this set.
yeah,
The other 3 days, I tell her to go in there and just do whatever she wants, just have fun. This
yeah,
is a super high level athlete because A, she knows how to train. She's a really good personal trainer. She's a champion figure competitor. She knows what the hell she's doing. But B, her personality is, she loves the gym. She loves working out, but she like dances in between her sets. Like she just enjoys it. And if she's staring at a logbook and like is forced to stick to a plan every session, she's gonna not enjoy the gym,
yeah,
right? So I
yeah,
give her 3 days where it's like, hey, I know you love training and you like dancing in between your sets, but I need you to like progressively overload on these movements. And then the other 3 days, like go do whatever the hell you want, get a good pump, get a good workout. And even if it's not tracked and you don't know like how much progress you're making, I know you know how to train. And the fact that you enjoy it is more important than anything. So just go do your thing.
yeah,
And again, like I can't do that for a Gen Pop client because
yeah,
they need guidance and they don't know how to train. But it's important for adherence and enjoyment. Like again, is this a hobby and a passion, or is it a chore and something you're forcing yourself to do? So find a way to make it fun. Obviously, we love bodybuilding,
yeah,
but maybe somebody likes Orange Theory or a group fitness class or whatever.
yeah.
They just need to find something that kind of keeps them going.
Exactly. That's very interesting that you mentioned that actually, because I'm pretty sure a lot of coaches, who coach competitors be like crazy. Like, no, you gotta own everything about their training. You gotta really hands on, and how dare you like let them have some some actual flexibility with that. But honestly, again, I think about it, I'm like, why not? Because again, number one thing is yes, we know the level of it's at, but if the individual who is actually again the person going on stage doesn't get on stage just simply because they just they burned out and like you said they felt it was a chore, they could again because it happens so many times. There's so many people you see out there with great potential, especially in natural bodybuilding, where you're like, how come this person still hasn't stepped on stage yet? And most of the time it's because unfortunately going into prep, the whole process just wasn't right for them. Maybe they didn't have the right people there to help them with it, the support and everything, but that kind of ruined it for them, and they don't make it to the stage. And I guess then for you, then is as great as it is to, okay, you want this person on the stage to get this result, which is the focus, yes, but she's got to get there. So yeah, it makes sense what you just said there.
Yeah, man, it's people's ego that
Yeah.
prevents them from doing that. So people like other coaches and trainees or whatever, they want to think that their X's and O's are responsible for the result.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the simple I did that. Yeah.
Yeah, like no, they think that training X's and O's are so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
The most important variables, right? People talk about what? Volume,
Yeah.
intensity, frequency.
Yeah.
They also talk about exercise selection, periodization, all this shit,
Training
right?
methods. Yeah. Yeah.
All
All
this
that.
shit. What's the most important variables? Consistency and effort,
And effort. Yeah.
right? So
That's it.
if my client is training 3 days that she's YOLOing and having fun, as long as she has a high level of effort, I still know it's a productive, stimulative training session,
Yeah.
right? Like what stimulates hypertrophy? Like what stimulates muscle protein synthesis? It's mechanical tension, it's metabolic stress, it's muscle damage, all these things. She can go do that without me saying like, do this exercise for this rep. And that's what, and like, I know that's what we do.
Yeah.
Now, tracking your stuff is important to ensure that you're progressing and to give yourself some direction. But your program isn't why people are getting results. They're getting results because A, they're staying consistent, and B, they're putting forth enough effort that stimulates positive signaling. And then B, they're performing resistance training exercise that has, components of mechanical tension, metabolic, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like people just want to think like, oh, my plan is the best fucking plan. So you need to do my plan.
That's it. No,
Yeah.
again, I'll probably even admit 2017, possibly a little bit 2018. It's very hard to get out of things you're married into as a coach,
Yeah.
and it's some will call it ego or whatever, but it's very easy. It's a human being trait. You naturally like to think something I did, I did it sort of thing. And as a coach, it's very easy to
Yeah.
say it's our training plan, it's our nutritional
Yeah.
method. That's why, like, sometimes I'm not having a dig or anything, but I do love it when I hear some coaches come up with certain, branded names for their training methods and everything. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, like it's almost like, yeah, this kind of is the reason why this happened. Without my training method, that person couldn't have built that physique. And it's like,
Yeah.
come on now. And on the flip
Mhm.
side, especially in the past year, I've learned so much where I almost felt like this person got results, nothing to do with my training or nutrition. It was actually just simply being able to like have this, their psyche, just making sure things were okay mindset wise.
Sure.
Things like I think a key word I've learned in the past year was identity. For them
Yeah.
actually identifying with who they are and also where they want to go. They're getting more, understanding that a bit better has been so important. Now, tell me that 2 years ago, I'd be like, what are you talking about, mate?
Yeah.
She don't know her macros and she ain't logging the training. Not happening, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, always learning, I think, is the other key thing. Before we go on though, I do want to point out one thing. You did mention peri-workout, just in case some of my followers don't know. Peri-workout, what does that actually mean?
Sure. So peri-workout is your pre-workout, intra-workout, and post-workout window, so to speak. This can vary for everybody based on their goals, the phase they're in, and their preferences. So, some of my clients train at 4 a.m., so they're totally fasted. Therefore, they don't have a pre-workout meal, and that's totally fine. Therefore, their post-workout nutrition is more important compared to somebody that had a really good pre-workout meal. Intra-workout nutrition is more important for people that are training longer than 60 minutes, or if they're doing very glycolytic demanding training. So, things that are 12 repetitions and higher, so to speak, even 8 repetitions or higher. But if you're doing more of a powerlifting routine or plenty of strength work, intra-workout nutrition shouldn't be as important because you're not using a ton of glucose or stored muscle glycogen for the training you're currently doing. So I can go over some strategies if you'd like for that.
Probably not today. I know that I don't want this one to go on too long, but no,
Sure.
again,
No worries.
just more reason, guys, why you should be following him. All right, because I know for sure he's about to dig into a post that he's done in the past, and usually
Yeah.
does every 6 months, so to say. So obviously, I'll be making sure I do tag your page handles and everything. But
Thanks, man.
again, guys, you should be following him because like literally all the stuff he's mentioning here is stuff that he's always been putting out there. A lot of free content as well, guys. So definitely check it out. But one thing I did want to finish on was just simply like rest of this year, like what are the plans? I know you're on some very exciting projects in regards to the university at the moment, but also just yourself, because we still technically are bodybuilders.
Yeah.
We might not be on stage as many people, but just wanted to know what are your plans though, man? How things go?
Yeah, man, things are going well. In regards to this year, there are multiple research projects in the works. So I just finished collecting data for one acute study. It was kind of on like intra-workout nutrition, actually. It was on carbohydrate mouth rinsing. It's a kind of interesting, novel topic. There's a lot of data on it for endurance athletes. So people would literally, swish around carbohydrate solution in their mouth and not consume it, not even drink it, actually spit it out.
Wow.
And it basically, the data that we do know from like brain scans is that you have carbohydrate sensors in your mouth, oral receptors. And when the carbohydrate binds to the oral receptor, it sends a signal to the pleasure centers of the brain that kind of increase serotonin and dopamine. So when those pleasure centers are stimulated, it decreases fatigue and like it improves your ability to kind of continue to push. Wow. So we're looking to see if you can improve your resistance training performance with carbohydrate mouth rinsing. The practical application to that would be like, hey, if you're dieting, you don't necessarily need to consume 20 grams of carbs intra-workout and get those 80 calories because you're on a diet and you're trying to maximize the deficit. You still may be able to get a performance enhancing effect from it. So anyway, I don't want to dive too deep into that, but there's a study coming out on that. Yeah. I worked on a really, really, really cool review paper with some awesome researchers that I was totally honored to be a part of. It was Dr. Guillermo Escalante, Dr. Scott Stevenson, Alan Aragon, and Brad Schoenfeld. And that paper is on Peak Week. So I'm really pumped about that. I hope that comes out. It'll come out sometime in 2021, but this research stuff just takes so long to go through a review and everything. So that's going to be cool. Peak Week paper coming out. And then another paper is currently under review on intraset stretching. So that's like an advanced training technique where in between your set, you would stretch under load to see if it would induce more growth than just resting and doing your next set. So those are some of the research things. And I'm working on case studies for a lot of my clients that are competing and non-clients. And it's cool because I'm trying to compare enhanced versus natural competition preps. Looking at the results, the outcomes, and also like hormonal changes and everything. So that'll be a long-term project. And then for me, I have plenty of clients competing this year, which I'm pumped about. And I plan
Nice.
on getting back on stage as well in September.
Yay.
Yeah.
Hercules?
So, Natural Mania. Natural
Oh,
Mania.
all
Yeah,
right.
not the Hercules, but
Yeah.
it's in
All
New
right.
York. It's a really good show. I'll probably just do 2 shows. I'm thinking to do one NPC show here in Florida to compete against the big boys, see if I can make them look soft and unconditioned. And then I'll do one natural show, and that'll probably be it. Unless at the same time, I do want
Something.
to turn
Yeah.
pro. So
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
turn pro, I would love to at least do one pro debut just to get it out of the way. And
Yeah.
because they make you do a pro debut within 1 year of getting your card, or else the card
Oh,
goes away.
serious? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Oh, I don't think
So
we have that here.
yeah. So if I turned pro but didn't do a pro show,
Yeah.
I know I'm not going to compete the following season. Like I'm going to take
Yeah.
years and years off again. So like
Yeah.
then my pro card gets revoked. So
That's great. Oh, well, I guess it's just to make sure that they got a show with pros then. I guess
yeah,
that's
yeah,
because most pros will probably just think, so once I've got my pro card, I just want to get that long off season so I can come back really at that
yeah.
next level, that kind of thing. But
So
interesting. Hey,
hopefully,
right.
I get
I'm gonna be checking that out. I'm gonna be checking
yeah,
that out. It's
hopefully, man.
definitely it's on the cards for you, mate. It's definitely on the cards.
I hope
Exciting
so.
times, man. Sounds
Yes,
good.
sir. Yes, sir.
Dang. All right. I think that is pretty much it for me in regards to the
Oh,
podcast.
man.
Thanks again, buddy, for coming through. It is a
My pleasure.
big pleasure. I know you're a busy dude, but I'm glad we could fit this one in, man. And again, guys, if you are not following this guy, you're crazy. Simple as it's just that simple.
I appreciate the love, man. I missed you. It's been a minute.
It's been
We got a lot to chat about, lots to catch up on, and we'll do it again soon.
Thanks, dude. All right, guys. Thanks again on the Faith, Mind, and Muscle podcast. That's it from now. Take care and God bless.